What's up YouTube? Valentin the Mad here, and today's video is a bit different. Pretty much from the first videos in the Gore review series, I got requests for a game called Overgrowth. Basically a rabbit homicide simulator with ridiculously accurate blood spitting mechanics that stain both the characters and the environment. The game is an alpha and more features will be added along the way, so it wouldn't make sense doing a Gore review for it at this point. However, I still wanna talk about the gore system of this game and make a few suggestions I had in mind for a long while. The goal of this video is to keep the suggestions more or less realistic and based on what the game already has. I will be avoiding stuff like a dismemberment. Not that it wouldn't be awesome, I just prefer to focus on ideas that are a bit more likely to happen. Hopefully some of the feedback in this video will be taken into account. Let's have a short overview of the existing features. As I mentioned earlier, amazingly accurate blood spitting mechanics. On attacks by sharp weapons you will see the wound appear, and right after that blood will be dripping down in a physically accurate manner, staining the wounded character and potentially other characters in the environment too. You also have this if you grab an enemy from behind and slice their throat. However, the spilling and the animations will happen only on this specific action and can't happen in combat even if you do slice the area. The response animations are very well blended with physics. Each hit has a lot of weight to it, and if a character gets thrown from the force of the hit, the whole thing looks very natural. Characters also have a wounded state of behavior after taking a stab or a few hits. However, you will see that only when they are idle, meaning that movement and combat are unaffected. There is one more subtle yet pretty cool feature about behavior. When a character goes down, he does not necessarily die. This rabbit took several steps from the spear, but as you can see, he is still breathing. Let's hit him a few more times. He is no longer breathing. The first thing I want to address are features regarding damage by sharp weapons and the blood spitting effects. The biggest issue about the body damage is that both the wound and the blood that comes out of it are absolutely identical. It looks right if you hit a character once and they are standing the entire time, but when you deliver several blows and the character falls down, it just ends up looking like random red paint and you can't really tell what's what. There needs to be some distinction between the wound itself and the blood. The more detailed the better, but really, almost anything will do. The next major issue is the amount of blood that is spilled. Shortly after the attack, the wound automatically closes and the character stops bleeding. And that really is the reason I refer to the spitting effects in Overgrowth as amazingly accurate instead of the best. You have characters cut, stabbed, and even sliced with this huge ass sword, and the end result is just too damn underwhelming. My suggestion would be to have the characters bleed for as long as they are alive, and for some time after they die too. The game could also feature arteries that would spill more blood if sliced during combat. Also, if blood gets continuously spilled in the same location, it should start forming a pool. Obviously this means that bleeding out and bandaging should also be included. A lot of games have bleed out mechanics with poor or non-existent visual feedback. In Overgrowth you have amazing visual feedback without the actual gameplay mechanic. Technically you should be able to stab someone and just run around as they bleed out. It won't be a very fun thing to do frequently, but it definitely should be possible. And this leads me to the next suggestion. So you stab someone and run away as they are chasing you while bleeding all over the place. At some point sooner or later the pursuing character will drop. It wouldn't make a lot of sense, would it? At one point he is eagerly chasing you, and a second later he just drops. So the next suggestion would be characters getting weaker as they are taking damage or bleeding out. The idea is to have several states of behavior in which characters look wounded and generally move and attack slower than they would if they were healthy. After taking even more damage, characters would drop into that state when they are lying down that already exists in the game. I would only suggest adding some wiggling movement to that to make the character look wounded and not just passed out. Several states of behavior during combat would make the fights much more exciting. Instead of draining an HP bar, you would see the characters get progressively weaker, and at some point you could have two beaten and bruised characters struggling to pound each other in a fight to the death. Breaking bones could also be a thing. If you break an arm, it would no longer effectively block and would deliver a very weak punch. If you break a leg, the character limps. If you break both legs, the character is on the ground, unable to move. On stabbing, you will see a small red mist that goes into nowhere for most of the weapons. I think that instead of this effect, there should be a few blood drops spawned to stain characters or the environment. It would increase the chance of the attacker getting stained in the blood of his victim, which is quite badass. Overgrowth has exceptional response mechanics as is, with very few major issues. I'm looking forward to see what will be improved in the development, and eventually doing the gore review when the game hits official release. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, and if you want to see more, subscribe and check out the gore review series for more discussion on response mechanics in video games. Until next time.